What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Today we're going to be discussing 3 key traits to becoming a successful street photographer. And ultimately, we define success in street photography. I think actually when you think about photography, art generally, it's a very subjective medium. I find that ultimately when it comes down to it, we go out there and make photographs because we enjoy making photographs. And so defining success to me is actually very particular. And so what defines success? You might be wondering, is there even such thing as success in the realm of photography? Does this mean that I must have a zine, a book, or a gallery show? Do I need to be published internationally? All of these external worldly things, we oftentimes define success in the realm of photography, art, and modern life generally, right? And so actually I find that the ultimate sign of success as a street photographer is very simple. And you might be wondering, well, what is that simple trait? The trait is possessing curiosity. For me, waking up each morning simply curious and eager for the day sets my day up for success. It sets me up for success in my photography, where success looks like never missing a sunrise again. Success looks like going out there and making new photographs each day. Despite whether or not you come home with a good or bad photograph, the act of going out there and making photographs is the goal, I find. And the purpose in my life is to essentially cultivate this inner curiosity, because that's what ultimately guides me to go out there and to make photographs. And so I want to share with you a very quick behind the scenes video of me riding my bicycle here in Philadelphia as I stumbled across this scene of a man fishing at the riverside. And essentially I find that photography is the ultimate excuse to simply go out there and to see your town and explore the world. And you really never know when these unexpected moments will come to you. And so in this video, we'll be looking at some behind the scenes POV footage from the streets for you to see exactly how I do this thing. And ultimately, my curiosity guides me. I love riding my bicycle on the river. I love basking in the sunlight. And so for me, I follow my joy. I follow what feels good and right. And I oftentimes dwell in the outskirts of town and find these interesting moments that otherwise go unnoticed. And so treating the camera as a passport, going beyond the basic notion of the camera being your tool or the thing that you operate to make the photograph, but to see it more metaphorically as this key that unlocks the door to the multifaceted complexities in life and all the experiences you can have, I think is a much more enriching way to think about the camera. For me, the camera has brought me all throughout the world over the past decade, traveling throughout the world. I've acquired all of these experiences and made all of these photographs that I can only dream of. And, I encourage you to essentially treat the camera as the excuse for you to go out there and to explore. And so curiosity is the first trait that I believe will improve your street photography. It's a very simple thing, honestly. It's the trait that I believe will basically set you up to becoming a successful street photographer. For ultimately, curiosity is what guides me to go out there on the streets. And I think that without it, well, we'd probably just sit back, order Uber Eats, just eat unlimited junk food and yummy foods, and just watch a million YouTube videos. Without curiosity, what are you going to do? Curiosity, I think, is essential for humanity, let alone a street photographer. But alas, here we have a behind the scenes video from Mumbai, India, during my trip there for 1 month. And I just want you to listen to this video, watch this video, and just watch how I engage with humanity. Watch how I engage with the streets. I think this is ultimately the best way that I can think about how to teach this thing, because curiosity is something that is self-driven. It comes from within. But by watching the way that I engage with humanity, maybe it can inspire you to also go out there and to explore the world.
Roti, which we eat.
The bread, yes.
Yes. In India, it's called roti.
Right.
Okay. So that is the thing. First, we make it like this. Then with the help of that, we make it in a round shape.
Okay.
And then we twist it and then we burn it. With the help of fire, then we cook this. So
to
this
feed
is
the fish?
Yeah. No. For feeding us.
Oh.
But this round, we feed the fish.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can take one.
Okay.
Just see how am I doing.
Yeah.
So it will be easy for you to do it. Break it.
Right. Small piece.
Yeah. Whatever you want. Like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
size? Throw it.
Okay.
The fish will eat it. They will love it. Yeah, enjoy it. This is the best karma.
Best karma?
Yeah,
Really?
this is the best karma. To feed the animals.
Mm.
In India, we believe if we are feeding the animal, that is the best karma, which we are doing. The fish will eat it, the ducks will eat it. Soon you will find it, how the ducks are eating it. Just take a look of it. Just see how they will eat.
So it's for good karma.
Yeah, it's for good karma.
It's very nice.
It's very nice.
And it's a ritual, like you pray here.
Yeah.
Hindu?
Hindu.
Yeah, I was very curious to come.
Yeah, actually.
I was at Sassoon Docks today.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Sassoon Dock. It's a fish market.
Yeah, very big old
Very
fish
big
market.
Old fish market.
And then I went and ate at Leopold Cafe.
Oh wow.
An old cafe.
Have you ever seen a bullet in the cafe?
Yes.
You seen?
Yes, I saw the bullet holes.
That
In the
thing
90s, there was a terrorist attack
No,
or
no,
something?
No, in 2007.
2007, there was a
Yeah.
terrorist attack? And they never got rid of the bullet holes?
Actually.
Hi, $1. How are you?
I'm good. This man's getting... Oh! It's okay? Oh my god. Yeah, take one of your friends.
What's your father?
So as you could see at the scene, I was engaged with the local. You know, I was present when I pressed the shutter here at this scene as the children were playing in the fountain, right? I find that ultimately the street photographer is simply responsible for being there and being present when they press the shutter on the front lines of life, close to humanity. And so in order to make a photograph on the streets with closeness, that goes beyond the simple notion of physical proximity, but with this emotional closeness that reveals itself in the photo, one must be there when they press the shutter. One must actually be in the moment. And I find this to be the beauty of street photography, and it gets me closer and closer to humanity through treating the camera this way as this excuse to explore, through tapping into that inner childlike curiosity. You know, when you see the world as a child, you know, you saw the way I gave the camera to that boy there and I allowed him to press the shutter. You know, we should be out there like these kids, playing in the streets, you know, treating the world as our playground and seeing the world from this perspective through childlike curiosity. You know, think of a child, you know, when you were a kid and you woke up in the morning and you looked up at the sky and, you know, you questioned things. You wondered about the clouds. You wondered about why the sky is blue and why the grass is green. And, you know, we look at the trees and nowadays and we might just think, oh, it's just another tree. But actually, when you have this inner sense of curiosity, when you look at a tree, you can become lost in the multifaceted complexities, watching the way it wiggles in the wind with the tree branches and the way the leaves fall and decay and regrow again throughout the change of seasons. There's so much wonder in the world. There's so much beauty in the world. And I think that we limit ourselves because we have an iPhone in our pocket. We think we've seen it all. We've done it all because we have unlimited information. But actually, we don't really know much. And I think the first step to cultivating this sense of curiosity and this childlike sense of wonder is actually to forget everything that you think you know and to go out there and explore the world through that perspective of simply wondering why. And so the word itself derives from curiositas, meaning carefulness, inquisitiveness, and a desire to know. And so with that desire to know, I use the camera as this tool to chip away at life, to get closer and closer to those questions. And essentially, my photographs, they're not necessarily an answer. They're simply a question. You know, when I approach a reflection here in Philadelphia, photographing through the mirror of this motorcycle, I was wondering, what could reality manifest to be in a photograph here? You know, what's here? What is this? Why are these people gathered? You know, I'm just simply wondering why when I'm out there, and I'm very inquisitive. I'm very careful and I'm very observant when I'm on the streets. And so I think it's important for you to cultivate this sense of wonder and curiosity when on the streets. And so ask questions with each click of the shutter. This to me is the most beautiful way to approach curiosity on the streets. It's not going out there with, oh, I know this is a fact, geometry, form, shape, but go out there in the spirit of play and allow your intuition to guide you. So intuition is the second trait that I believe one must possess in order to become a more successful street photographer. Intuition is that gut feeling that tells you to press the shutter. It allows for spontaneity and presence in the moment. And so here in Philadelphia, as this boy comes by into my frame, I had to drop low and respond through my gut to make this compositional decision, to make this photograph of the decisive moment of the boy wheeling here on his bicycle, right? And so I find that ultimately intuition is what guides us to press the shutter. And so I encourage you to not think, right? Don't think, just shoot. I think we should simply make photographs first and ask questions later. When your gut tells you to press the shutter, you should click the shutter. And so here at the scene in Philadelphia, I observed as these women were walking down the street wearing red and blue, and I noticed the color matching, and I didn't hesitate. I quickly positioned myself in front of them and made the picture. I responded with my gut, and I followed my intuition, and I let that guide me to click the shutter. And then all of the spontaneity takes over. The red shirts match up. The blue shirts match up with the blue signs in the background. The pole has a sign jutting out that says "Turn on red," which relates to the red shirts in the foreground. These different relationships come through intuition. These different compositional decisions derive through your gut. And ultimately, I believe a composition is simply a result of your intuition. And so trust your gut. Go out there and follow your instincts. To me, this is really critical in the realm of street photography. You should not be so rational minded when you're on the streets and thinking in 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, but allow spontaneity and the fluidity of your movements of the street itself to carry you in your decisions when you press the shutter. And so here in Mumbai, India, as I was observing the beautiful golden light, this car swoops by and there's two children playing, and we instinctively decided to start making photographs here. This gut response you have when you see something guides you to press the shutter, and then the different relationships sort of fall into place. And I think this is the beauty of the spontaneity of the street. It's allowing the chaos to guide you, but having this sense of consideration, when you're observing a scene, where the root of intuition derives from intuitio, meaning looking at, consideration. It's about perceiving instinctively. And so here in Mumbai, India, as I watched this scene unfold, I sensed the possibility of a photograph. I was observant of the patterns that exist in nature and human behavior, watching the birds in flight and the light, watching the people and the way they move upon this fort. And as these different elements combined, I responded with my gut to press the shutter as the bird flew by in the perfect place at the perfect time. But this comes through consideration, through perceiving instinctively and really looking at a scene. And so what you see isn't what you get. Oftentimes when you're photographing, you might think, well, this is a fact. I'm taking a picture of this moment. That's, reality depicted in my photograph. That's what this is. But ultimately, when I'm photographing, a lot of what I get back in the photographs is what I didn't see in that split second, in that fraction of a second, in that moment. And so here in Zambia, Africa, I sensed the possibility of a photograph here. I was wondering why and asking questions with each click of the shutter as I watched the way the light and shadow play interacted at the scene. But it came through my intuition to press the shutter at this decisive moment of the boy's face moving in and out of that shaft of light, revealing his eye beyond the shadow. And so these different elements, I believe, come through your intuition. They're not necessarily something that you can really put order to with this rational mind, but it's something that you can cultivate through that gut instinct to press the shutter. And so when I consider the third trait to becoming a successful street photographer, I think of courage. And courage is ultimately what guides us out there into the world, into the chaos, into the unknown. While one must possess curiosity to wake up in the morning and to think about life and to go out there and to explore, it's courage that you must cultivate with curiosity to push yourself and to move yourself onwards. And so when I consider boldness in street photography, this is quite required. You know, it can be daunting to photograph strangers. However, through confidence, we can cultivate courage. And so essentially courage is, it's really simple. I mean, courage is essentially feeling fear, but doing the thing anyway, right? And so here at the front lines of conflict in Jericho, I photographed at the closest proximity possible to the subject with the tattered mask as I focus in on his eye, and there's a smoke screen in the background with fire rising, rubber bullets, tear gas, live ammunition being fired at me behind this concrete barrier as I focused in and was there and present, full of fear. But through cultivating courage, I made this photograph. And so you must be bold. You must be fearless as a street photographer, as the street is an arena and life is out of our control. However, by cultivating courage, I think you can do anything in this life of ours. You know, for here in Mexico City, I climbed the top of the mountain and I engaged at this scene and made this photograph of this man with his arms outstretched as the storm cloud rolls in, and the sculpture and statue of Jesus is outstretched in the background. And, you know, when I think of a photograph, right, a photograph essentially is a reflection of your courage, right? The composition derives through your intuition, and the result of the photograph is a reflection of your courage. Core meaning heart. You know, courage is about inner strength, right? Cultivating that inner strength, that inner sort of hero within you, that sort of brave spirit within you to push yourself up the mountain, to go out there onto the front lines of life and to explore the unknown. And so I find that ultimately, to become a more successful street photographer, one must possess courage. One must take risks. I think that risk taking is very critical because ultimately, when I look back at my photos, the photos that I've made that required more risk ultimately give me more reward. And so here you can see me approaching this mother and child here in the by the railroad in Mumbai, India, making a photograph. And, you know, you might feel awkward, you might feel hesitant, you might feel like you're anxious, you know, you don't want to make a photo of this moment. But when I see something that's worth photographing, I'm going to go there and make that photograph. You know, when I'm curious and I have that gut instinct to press the shutter, I'm going to follow through with courage to do the thing itself. And so I encourage you to build courage. I encourage you to cultivate curiosity and follow through with your intuition when you're out there on the streets to make photographs. And one very simple tip I have for you to end this video off with building courage is to ask for permission. Use an Instax camera to share prints and embrace rejection as a growth opportunity. And so essentially when you're out there practicing street photography, you might think that there's this 1, 2, 3, ABC, these are the rules and the guidelines to practice this thing. You cannot interact with strangers. You know, I have to be this weird person that just walks around. You can approach the streets in so many different ways, and I believe ultimately photography comes down to, and improving in photography comes down to how you engage with humanity. And so one of the very simple things that I've picked up along my journey of traveling the world is to bring an Instax camera with me and to gift photographs to strangers, to ask for permission, and then I become a fly on the wall in certain situations and scenes where I can make pictures. And essentially, this is just a very practical tip and a bit of advice here to give you so that you can actually go out there and see what this does for you, you know, and to, you know, take this practical step to cultivating courage, I think can actually really improve your photography. And so this is a very practical tip, and I'm going to show you a use case in this behind the scenes video to end this video off with me photographing on the streets of Philadelphia with an Instax camera, engaging at a scene. And so hopefully you can learn through the way that I interact with humanity. And so, yeah, I highly suggest you to give this a try. This is very, very practical advice. And so just to wrap the video up, 3 key traits to becoming a successful street photographer: curiosity, intuition, and courage. This is the trifecta. And so thank you for watching, and watch the rest of this behind the scenes video. Peace. We've got a boxer. Yo, you got the moves, bro.
You mind checking out our clothing, bro?
I think that's cool. Do you want me to take a photo of your clothes?
if maybe you want a picture, I can take a shot of your boy. Yo, he was doing some cool moves. You want a picture? It'll pop right out. Yo, do another move with your fists. Yeah. But do the action. Actually punch and do what you were just doing. Yeah. And look up at me. All right, I got you. This will pop out. Let's see what happens. It's an Instax picture.
Wow.
It might be
That's a nice Instax.
yeah, it might be a good one. Try that out.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yo, like, is that the one you gotta like do this with?
Yeah, but you don't have to actually do that. You can just leave it in your pocket too. I mean, it's just the
Okay, so it's like a
Instax
dual
picture.
film.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well keep it out in the sun, I guess. Yeah, you keep it out and just look at it. But it comes on this side. Yeah, right here.
What do you do for a living?
I do photography, multimedia, art.
I see a GoPro.
I've got a GoPro Mini. This is an awesome little GoPro. Yeah. I think I framed this poorly. Yeah. It's interesting though.
He's doing his thing.
I've got the hand and the bottom cut off, but you know what? It's imperfect. Here, do it again. Do it again.
You said what?
Hold up.
How y'all doing?
You know what? I'm a noob. And it's jammed. It's jammed. It's jammed. Dude, it's okay. Look, it worked. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, this thing, you know what?
Oh, I do remember you. You had the mask on.
Okay, I fixed it. This silly piece of plastic. Here. You were looking down, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I've got a whole thing of them. This would be cool for your Instagram or your page when you promote your clothing. Does he have the logo? Let's see if he's got the logo. Actually do it. Yeah, do it again, for real. And look up. And have a mean mug and look up. Ah. I don't know. I'm having fun. This is cool. I didn't see you guys before. Is this your first time here?
No, we just fluctuate around here and through where we're from. So
Yeah. Are you guys from Philly?
yeah, north side, northeast side.
Bet.
So around there.
Yeah.
Or northeast.
I grew up in Manayunk.
Manio.
Yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm Dante.
I'm Mariano.
Mariano,
Nice to meet you.
pleasure to meet you, bro. You Italian?
No.
What's the
I'm Puerto Rican.
Puerto
but
Rican?
People give me
Mariano? I don't know what that. Yeah, right.
It sounds like.
Why does that
Italian.
sound Italian? I've never met a Mariano that's Italian.
I've never met a Mariano myself. I've heard people.
It just sounded it. Yeah, no, that's dope
So
though.
my dad, his name is Mario, and my brother's Mario Jr. So
Yeah.
I got the Mariano.
Okay.
It's like he mixed it a little. So.
Let's see what these look like.
Wow.
This one's kind of nice. The one where he's looking up right here.
That's cool.
Yeah, those are two cool shots.
Yeah.
Like they go together like that. And then this one's kind of like a throwaway, but you can hold that.
Look how they came to life.
That one's kind of it'll come together with time, I think. Like this one's almost done.
Yeah, that is fire.
Yeah, that's actually cool because he's got the logo. You know, that's kind of, you know,
It is cool.
that's actually pretty dope. Why not?
The Break the Loop logo.
Why not?
Break the Loop.
Okay, so these are your hats and this is your merch and
Yeah.
VOC. All right, support. We got vocphilly.org. Okay, bet.
It means victim of circumstance.
Interesting. What inspired that name?
Oh, it's to motivate others to better themselves from what they've been through instead of victimizing themselves.
Word.
Yeah, because
That's-
everybody has a circumstance that they've been through. Instead of victimizing yourself, you become a better person from it. Everybody has a bag that they hold, so you let go of that bag and you run. You know.
VOC.
Yes. Victim of circumstance.
Victim of circumstance.
Brace yourself.